Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. All right, answering questions from my SKOOL community. All right, so the question was, guys, ask me one question about women, sex, or the P word. This is the YouTube Q&A, episode 4. And I gave them a poll. Let's see. Not gonna lie, Megan, I have low self-esteem. I have high self-esteem. Okay, so out of 60 votes, 35 people voted that they have high self-esteem. Interesting. All right, let's get straight to the questions. From Nate Sack. Nate Sack. Okay. What do you think is top female glazed physique? In my opinion, something like Brad Pitt. So if you want my opinion, I'm always gonna put it to the side in exchange for the science. But in this case, the science and my experience align, right? So the number one physique that worldwide, obviously, we're not counting outliers, just in general, that women gravitate towards is, believe it or not, the UFC fighter physique, right? The MMA, not too muscular, not too scrawny, not too shredded. So it's not the bodybuilder physique. It's that Spartan, UFC fighter physique, right? Where you have visible abs, visible obliques. You have nice broad shoulders, nice V taper. Legs are not too brolic, but, they're defined. So pretty much women want that balance between muscularity and leanness. So you're not too extreme to the left, so you're not too lean, but you're also not too muscular, right? Pretty much, in short, they want a fighter's physique. And there's a ton of studies on that. I posted them in the SKOOL community. I will make more videos on it. Worldwide, women consistently pick men based on their perceived fighting ability. So even the women don't know they're doing it. An example is height. Women like tall men. And if you ask most women, they don't even know why. But if you look at the studies, it's mainly because they perceive the taller man as a better fighter. The moment you remove the perceived fighting ability, then height only explains about 10% of the variance in attractiveness, which is insane. And I posted that study many times. It showed that 70% of attractiveness, if you're a man, 70% of your attractiveness in the eyes of a female comes from your perceived fighting ability, which also makes sense if you look at evolution. But anyway, don't want to beat a dead horse. So, by the way, so to answer your question, the most glazed female physique is a fighter's physique. Broad shoulders, V taper, six-pack abs, not too shredded, not too buff. Unfortunately, women hate the physique that I grew up loving, right? Because you guys know I grew up loving the fucking mass monster, Ronnie Coleman, Brawley, Bane, Juggernaut physique, right? Muscles, traps, neck everywhere. Yeah, women don't like that shit, but fuck them. All right, next, from Alex. 5'9", 70 kg, 10 to 12% body fat, FMR 21. All right, you said we should be clapping at least one new girl a month. What are the benefits of doing that, psychologically, hormonally, or otherwise, compared to not doing it at all? How big of a difference does it actually make? What's the most optimal number per month? Is there an upper limit where it starts being helpful? And would it indirectly help achieving other goals? Okay, so, guys, the reason I say minimum once a month, and again, that's the minimum. That's the minimum. But let me tell you this. You do not understand how much the constant pursuit of cheats. I know it sounds crazy. I know it goes against everything you heard growing up, but trust me, everything you heard growing up is a lie, because society is designed to break men and make us obedient servants. It's just the shortcut summary of mankind. Society everywhere is designed to break men and make them obedient, because if you don't make men obedient, you leave them with their high T, they're going to destroy society, right? Testosterone makes us very hard to control. So that's why most of the advice men here are contradictory. It's BS, from religion to politics. It's to make you obedient. Because what is the biggest threat to the ruling elite? You think it's women? Fuck no. It's young men with high T. So let me tell you the truth here. Once again, most of the advice you have there is garbage. You don't understand how much you become alive as a man when you're constantly pursuing cheeks. And I know everyone's telling you, oh, don't worry about cheeks, focus on yourself, whatever. Bullshit. The pursuit of cheeks is what makes the world go around, right? If you study most hyper successful men, study most conquerors, most rulers, most CEOs, there's a reason why they're surrounded by sex scandals. It's not by coincidence. Their pursuit of excellence is mainly linked to our pursuit of cheeks. Because women select men at the top of social hierarchies. Women select men who are higher in status. Therefore, testosterone makes men want to seek status so that they can get a woman. And in the pursuit of seeking that status, men create great things. Empires, buildings, businesses, every great thing around you. You could tie back to the pursuit of cheeks. So when I tell you guys to constantly look to get that number up, it's because in the process, you're gonna have to improve. That's why people, the red pill community has it backwards. They hate women. They're like, wow, women are gold diggers, blah, blah, blah. It's because most of that community is full of morons that don't understand evolutionary psychology and evolutionary biology. Women being gold diggers is the single best thing that ever happened to mankind. Why? Because like I said earlier, it forces men to level up. It forces men to level up. Think about it. Imagine a world where women picked the lamest dude, the weakest guy, the brokest guy. Where do you think society would be today? Think about it. If women consistently picked generation after generation the weakest guy, the guy that can't fight, the guy who's not in shape, the guy who's not emotionally tough, the guy who has no money, no work ethic, no ambition, where do you think society would be today? Where do you think you would be today? Right? You are where you are today because your mother and your grandmother and your great-grandmother over time consistently picked men higher on the social ladder. Now, that doesn't mean there's no exception to the rule. I'm sure there are some whole grandmas out there who picked a bum-ass dude, but I can guarantee you his kid suffered, right? So the reason why I tell you guys to chase cheeks, it's not just because you're going to feel amazing, right? Not just because you're going to increase your testosterone in the process, but it's because it's going to force you to level up. It's one of the best things that happen to mankind is female pickiness. Female pickiness makes it so that only the best of the best pass on the genes, forcing our lazy asses, because most men are lazy, forcing us to level up, you know? So, long story short, that's why I tell you guys to keep chasing cheeks. Not only it's going to increase your T, it's going to increase your mental health, it's going to make you compete, it's going to make you stay outdoors, but it's going to force you to level up, right? Think about it. Think about the hottest woman that you want to get. You think she's going to take you while you lazy, fat, out of shape, broke? Like, come on. Think about it, guys. Just use common sense. The pursuit of cheeks forces men to level up. All right, next. Liam, he says, self-confidence and self-esteem and self-belief are not all quite the same thing. No, isn't esteem not correlated with success? What are you saying? Like, you're not really asking the question here. Obviously, they have overlaps. They're not exactly the same thing. One thing leads to another. They're bidirectional. But let's see. And you say self-belief. Yeah, self-belief is self-confidence is self-belief. Now, self-esteem is something else. It's a byproduct. It could be a byproduct. But self-confidence and self-belief are exactly the same thing. And look it up if you want. Now, self-esteem is different because self-esteem is just how you perceive yourself. How much worth you assign to yourself. Whereas self-confidence and self-belief is pretty much belief in your own abilities. But I give you anyway. I think that's what you're asking. Next, Andy. Was it Jong or Young? I haven't done this in a while, so I forgot how to say your name. Anyway, for every girl I clap, is it a valid idea to put her on IUDs and birth control so I don't have to wear my XXX extra large Durex condoms? This motherfucker. All right, let me read this again. For every girl I clap, is it a valid idea to put her on IUDs and birth control so I don't have to wear my XXX extra large Durex condoms? So I have so many stories about this. You got to be careful because some girls will try to trap your ass, right? So if she's not on birth control, then you're going to have to wrap up. Now, I know coming from me, that's ironic, right? Because my pull-out game is so weak. I told you guys, you want to find my biggest weaknesses is my pull-out game. Especially if the pussy's good. God damn. I got so many stories, man. I think one day I should just tell you guys all of the wild adventures I've been on during my life. But long story short, try to avoid pregnancy scares. So double check to make sure they're on birth control. If not, use a condom. And even then, to be honest, I used to be so scared that even if I had a condom on, because I know I would pull out anyway. But let's say I didn't pull out, I would still buy the fucking morning after because I didn't want to have kids. Plan B at the time was I think it was like $40 or $42. I'll never forget the price because I was so broke back then. And that $42 was like such a big chunk of my paycheck. But they didn't want to have a kid, man, until I eventually got caught. But anyway, so to answer your question, yeah, definitely wrap up. And anyway, next from AH, when you're talking to and dealing with women who are interested in you and they're in circles, frequent, do you spell that so bad? Friend groups, work, friend or family, blah, blah, blah. How can you approach the dating and clapping cheeks with no strings attached and not make things awkward if it fizzles out and they want more? So most women are going to want something out of a relationship. I'll be honest with you. Most women, in fact, most women I clap wanted something out of a relationship. They just didn't believe me when I told them that I was going to clap and move on. Because like I told you guys, women have this mindset where they believe they could change a guy. So the more honest you are with them by letting them know that, it's just friends with benefits, whatever, the more they'll think, okay, watch, I'll make him my boyfriend. I'll make him commit. And 9 out of 10 times, just clapped and moved on. So, like I said, until I got caught. But, but yeah, long story short, yeah. So be ready for that. Most women are not going to be like, hey, I'm okay with being friends with benefits. Now, some of them are, and they are the best. But chances are they're also doing that with other niggas. So, yeah, the good comes with the bad. So to answer your question, it's not gonna be not weird, right? You're gonna have to be. That's why I tell you guys to work on your social skills, work on your sense of humor, because you're gonna have to talk yourself out of that situation. My route was brutal because I was just honest, but it also came with a lot of rejections. But I just didn't give a fuck, so I just kept going. I told you guys, my secret was volume. I just kept spamming volume. And I knew that eventually, even if I had a 1% chance, then that just means I have to try 100 times. So, let's see. So as far as answering your question, obviously it depends on the girl you're dealing with, but let it be known from the beginning that you are not into a relationship, that you're just trying to feel each other. You're trying to see where things are going. Now, I would use that a lot. I would say stuff like, hey, I'm not interested in a relationship, but we'll see where things go. In the back of my mind, I'm like, bitch, you out your goddamn mind. I'm not about to settle down. But I did tell him at least, I was like, hey, I'm not interested in a relationship, Anyway, next, you have Donovan Thomas Dixon, 5'8", 240 pounds, 15% body fat. Bruh, I think you capping, man. 5'8", 240 at 15% body fat. Are you insane? Do you understand how much muscle that is? There is no way you 5'8", 240 pounds at 15% body fat. That is a lot of muscle. Let's see, you put strongest leg 405 deadlift, effort for my, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, I think you're overrating you under reporting your body fat. Or you could be an outlier. You could be a jack motherfucker in that case. Much power to you. Anyway, next you say, give a median rating of older girls you slept with doing your cheek clapping arc. Number 2, I work as a security guard for an Amazon work. Actually, let me answer one at a time. So median rating, by the way, I had this conversation with Matt and so many of my friends. Everyone has the rating system wrong. Right? Everyone thinks, oh yeah, I fucked this girl. That's a 6, that's a 7, that's a 8. It's all BS. You guys don't like to be objective. For me, 1 to 10 means 5 is the average, right? In the world or wherever you are, right? 5 is the average. 1 is the ugliest bitch ever in the world. That's worse than Smeagol. 10 is the baddest bitch in the world. That's a freaking mixture of Latina with Russian, with African, with fucking Lebanese genetics, everything mixed. The most beautiful girl in the world is a 10. Meaning you put her next to every woman on the planet, every supermodel, every movie star, whatever actress, she would be number 1. That's a 10, right? Meaning she's more beautiful than every woman in every continent. So when people say, I was with a 6 or 7, they're out of their fucking mind. You guys don't even know what a 6 and 7 looks like. Right? Because the 6 and 7, this is the way I explain it to people, right? A 6 means the prettiest girl in, let's say, your town or your city. She has to be a 6. She can't be a 9 because if a 9 is the prettiest girl in your city, then what is the prettiest girl in your country? You're going to give her a 10? Okay, if you give her a 10, then what's the prettiest girl in the fucking continent? See? And then what's the prettiest girl across 2, 3, 4, 5 continents? See, that's why I get so mad at people's rating system. They're like, oh yeah, that's a 7, that's a 6, that's a 8. I'm like, you out of your damn mind. That ain't the prettiest girl in the fucking country, right? So for me, a 5 is average. 6 is the prettiest girl within, let's say, a town to city radius. For me, a 7 is the prettiest girl within, like, let's say, up to a country level. An 8 would be the prettiest girl in the whole goddamn fucking, all of North America, South America, pretty much the whole continent combined. A 9 would be the prettiest girl across multiple continents. And then the 10 would be the prettiest girl in the fucking world, right? Based on that rating, everybody is a 5. And in fact, that's what a 5 is. A 5 is average. So to answer your question, now that we established that rating, it's funny because I wanted to make a video about this so long ago. I just never have time. So people understand the whole rating system thing. So based on that, most girls that smash with 5s, I want to say 6, 7, but that's a goddamn lie. Because even the prettiest girl I smashed, you guys will call her like a 8 or a 7 or a 9. Even the prettiest girls that I smashed is nowhere near the prettiest girl in the country, let alone the fucking city, let alone the continent, let alone the whole world. So first, guys, let's get our rating systems correctly. Most girls that you guys think are 7s and 8s and 9s, they're 5s. They're high 5s, right? Like 5 point something. So yeah, so I will have to say 5. I never went to a 4 though, because to me 4 is ugly, right? Because 5 is average, 4 means you less than average, meaning you're ugly. So yeah, can't do 4s because my dick won't even get hard. And I'm big on, you guys know I'm big on looks, man. Like, even though I'm an ugly nigga, it's funny because I'm such a hypocrite. Even though I'm an ugly nigga, I want the girl I smash to look good. And she gotta have the hip to waist ratio, and the booty, and the thighs, and the mean head game. But I'm going off tangent here. All right. Let's see. And it's funny because because I love head so much, I can't imagine an ugly bitch giving me head. Can you imagine looking at it, you see Smeagol just gobbling on your shit? Oh my god. Meanwhile, I'm not gonna mention a friend, but I'm not gonna mention his name. He knows who it is. I got a friend who's perfectly fine with 4s. He said he's perfectly fine with 4s. And I even redefined. I said, "Are you sure 4 means ugly? It means less than average." He said, "Yes, I'm okay with a 4." And I was like, "More power to you, man. I actually wish I could smash a 4." But anyway. Because it would definitely, back in my whole days, it would have definitely increased the amount of chicks that I clap. All right, next, I work as a security guard for an Amazon warehouse. The company I work for is providing service for Amazon, which means that I don't share the same bosses as the Amazon associates. A lot of the girls there are 4s and 5s, but have nice bodies and fat asses. Would you go around and clap these girls if you're on my shoes? Again, that's why I had to do this long rant on the numbers. When you say 4s and 5s, what do you mean, bruh? Do you mean 4s and 5s based on what I just explained, which is an objective way to actually, use that rating system? Or do you mean 4s and 5s as like Smeagol bitches? There's a big difference, my nigga. So I would say if they're average, which is 5, if they're average, meaning they're not ugly, they're not supermodel, they're just average, right? Fine. Clap away, motherfucker. Don't be picky. The fuck? But if they're 4s, like actual 4s, meaning butt ass ugly, right? Then nah, my nigga. Because like I said, back to that system that I explained, 5 is average, 4 is below average, meaning ugly, no questions about it. 3 means mad ugly, right? 2 means like Smeagol, no questions asked. In fact, 2 means, what's that nigga from 300? I keep forgetting his name. That fuck ass trader, Ephialtes or whatever. That's a 2, right? So 5 is average, 4 is ugly, 3 is like mad ugly, 2 is Smeagol / Ephialtes, and then 1 is a burnt version of Smeagol and Ephialtes. So 1 is obviously you cannot find ugly, meaning you take a 1 and you burn her and you put acid on her face, she's still a 1. Like, she cannot get uglier, right? You guys gotta be, guys. I'm like autistic with these numbers, man. So when we say 1 to 10, we really gotta mean 1 to 10. You know what I mean? So a 1 meaning assuming there's no 0. 0 means like there's no 0, right? So if 1 is the lowest number, we really gotta define what a 1 is. So 2 is Smeagol / Ephialtes, and 1 is a burnt, deformed version of Smeagol. All right, so now you go up from there and you can see what a 3 looks like. A 3 is like a slightly pretty Smeagol. So Smeagol with makeup and I don't know, whatever. And obviously 4 is ugly. So now based on that system, I think you should smash the 5s. Stay away from the 4s, my nigga. God forbid you get a 4 pregnant. Oh, God. Imagine you get a 4 pregnant, your baby comes out like a fusion, Patara earring fusion of Smeagol and Ephialtes. Nah, bro. Nope. Especially if you're ugly too. Oh my God. Now it's that plus a tablespoon of you. Oh man, that's even worse. All right, next we got wait, did I answer your questions? You said the lust I feel is intense and strong. Sometimes I find myself jacking up at work or jacking up in the middle of the day. I always try to delay jacking off until before I go to bed. Do you have any tips for me? I'm laughing because you remind me of me, bro. Like young me. Oh my goodness, my nigga. I used to jack off in so many weird places. The ferry, at work, fucking at school, college, CSI. Oh my goodness. Megan laid his seed everywhere. I didn't give a fuck too. Yeah, that's what high tea does, man. Anyway, next, Tapatio, my nigga, Tapioca. How do you take the first step towards? Oh yes, yeah, so wait, did I answer Donovan's question? So yeah, go for the 5s, bro. Go for the 5s. and then build that confidence, and then go for the higher fives. How do you take the first step towards having sex with confidence if you're a virgin? And back to Donovan's question. So now I'll explain to you, the system that I used, my 1 to 10. Now, if you want to use the 1 to 10 that you guys use, which is so off, where you call every hot bitch a 7 or 8, yeah, in that case, I smash 7s and 8s, especially the chick I lost my virginity to. God damn, that one is a story. I think I told you guys some of the parts of that story. She was bad. I would have gave her an 8 based on you guys' rating, which is so off. Like, she's a high 5 based on my system, but based on you guys, where you calling every sexy girl a 7 or 8, yeah, I would say she was an 8. Anyway, how do you take the first step towards having sex with confidence if you're a virgin? Like, what should you project, and how do you do it without being weird and creepy? That's the problem, my nigga. I tell you guys all the time, you guys try to skip steps, because if you're asking that question, that means there's so many things about your life that you haven't fixed yet, right? The fact that you overanalyzing, what should I project? You're supposed to project you, nigga. You're supposed to project yourself. I know it sounds cliched. I know it sounds corny because everyone says it, but it's true. It's one of the few things that everybody says, but it's actually true. Women like a man who's himself. And obviously, you can't be a bum and then be yourself. But, have some kind of self-worth. Achieve something. This way you have some. Remember, confidence comes from achieving shit. So achieve hard things that will give you confidence. Know your identity. Know your work. And then project that. You can't fake it with women. Like I said, they have a sixth sense. They can tell when you're faking. They get approached by so many guys that they can sense when you're faking confidence. And they could also sense when you were a nigga like me who just didn't give a fuck. I showed you guys, I was confident for 2 reasons. 1, because I actually achieved hard things back then. But 2, because I was depressed, guys. I didn't give a fuck. So my confidence was elapsed. I look back at some of the shit I did back then. I'm like, man, I would have never approached the women. The women I clapped back then, I probably wouldn't have clapped them later on. Because I was like I had God level confidence. And that's when I saw firsthand that looks are so overrated when it comes to, compared to confidence. Because friends of mine who look way better than me, had way more money than me, were struggling. And then you got skinny, fat, ugly Megan bagging bitches left and right. Just straight off confidence. That shit was carrying me. Which at the time, I didn't even know. I just didn't care. And by the time I found out, I still didn't care because, I was depressed. Anyway, Brandon Galley, 175 centimeters. So to pay shield back to your question, first, I know it sounds corny, work on yourself first. The question you're asking is showing me that you don't even know yourself first. You don't love yourself, you don't know yourself. And again, why would you love yourself if you haven't achieved anything? Right? That's what I tell you guys. 2 things every man should do. 2 things every fucking man should do. 1, learn to fight. I don't care. No exception. I don't care if you have no arms, no legs. Learn to fight. And 2, learn entrepreneurship. Learn how to make money. Right? Once you have those 2 things, your confidence will skyrocket. Because being able to fight will give you discipline. It will give you self-worth. It will lower your anxiety. Because one of the biggest predictors of anxiety in the scientific literature, believe it or not, is how many people in the room can fuck you up. The amount of people in a room, when you walk into a room, the amount of people who could beat your ass in that room, right? That amount dictates how high your anxiety would be. It sounds so crazy, but yet it is so simple if you think about evolutionary psychology. Right? So the higher your fighting ability, not only your physique will look better, not only you'll be able to defend yourself and all that other stuff, and women like the fighter physique, but you will have confidence because you could walk into a room and then your amygdala will quiet down because you know that anyone who walks up to you will get their hands. Now, if you walk into a room where everyone can beat your ass, which is most of you guys, because you're small and you can't fight, of course you're going to have anxiety. And once you have anxiety, you could throw the word confidence out the window, And there's a reason why women pick men who know how to fight. Can you imagine a girl makes you her boyfriend and then you guys go out at night to a bar or to the movies and then you get pressed by 3 black dudes who come out of nowhere, Daddy went and got the milk, never came back, so they grew up with a single mom. They have no manners, no discipline. They just want to show off their status by picking on guys. Imagine those 3 buff black dudes walk up to you and start to pull your man coat. What are you going to do? See? They're going to beat your ass in front of your woman. And God forbid they're rapists. Oh, my goodness. God forbid they're rapists. And then one of them is a gay rapist. Oh, God. Now you and your woman, are getting dick down. So, yeah, come on. Learn to fight. So that's the first thing. Second thing, like I said, learn how to make money. And then that will cover over half of your triple S score. Right? Then come back and then we'll talk about the question you're asking now. So stop putting the cart before the horse. Next, you have Brandon Galley. I interact with hot women daily. Where he says he's 5'9", 160 pounds. Let's see, 5'9", 160. Okay, 16% body fat, FMI 20. Yeah, you need a little bit more muscle. I interact with hot women daily. I even got one on HSP full body workouts with me. Nice. I'm not the type to get complacent. Actually, the complete opposite. So I've noticed my lifts going up drastically. My muscle mass is increasing while losing some body fat. How much of this is due to my normal and sexual female interaction? I have gotten one to watch her videos with me. We tested the gym where I hit failure. Then she flashed me and I got 4 more reps in. Let's go, bro. I told you guys, not only the studies confirm it, I showed you guys the literature, but experience shows it. Women are the biggest T booster by far. There's a reason why women increase testosterone, within minutes, based on the literature, more than any supplement out there. More than any supplement, more than sleep, more than just the presence of an attractive woman isn't enough to make men go Super Saiyan. And then once the woman leaves, then your T levels go back down. Because like I always told you guys, the body hates producing excess T because it's costly and it actually makes you do dumb shit. And it suppresses your immune system. So the body hates producing excess T unless it needs it. And when does it need it? 2 scenarios. When you're about to clap cheeks, meaning when you're around a woman, and when you're about to protect your status, right? So yeah, I told you there's even studies I showed you guys, right? I made a video about it where men were just told to watch, like, it wasn't real porn, but it was like just, softcore porn before lifting, and they got a huge increase in squat performance. Duh, How shocking is it that the hormone of sex and war, testosterone, the hormone that evolved to make us chase cheeks and fight, how shocking is it that it goes up when your body sees the very purpose of, testosterone, which is to make you cheat, to make you clap cheeks, That's why I tell you guys, you want to surround yourself with hot women. Oh my goodness, there's so much of you guys that you don't even know is there. So much of your potential is locked inside of you because you're home all day and you are not exposed to the very things that increase T, which is women and, rivals. But yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, there's definitely a link there. Next, Alper. Let's see. Oh, Alp. Okay. What are, in your opinion, the best places to secure women for smeagol-looking entrepreneurs missing out on best places like school and work? Women should have value to looks. Men should have value to competency. Yep. Question number 2. Okay, so let's answer question number 1 first. The best places. So number 1 is, like I say, friends of friends, right? That's like a cheat code. That's why I tell guys, have a brotherhood, have friends, 2 to 3 good friends that have the same mission as you, same goals, same Ikigai, whatever. And one of the easiest ways to not only meet women but have them put their guard down is through friends of friends. Because once a woman knows that you know somebody that she knows, her guard instantly goes down. Because you gotta understand, women are terrified of creeps. Doesn't matter how good you look, unless you like an outlier. If a woman sees a guy by himself, she's thinking, okay, where are his friends? Why is he alone? Where is he gonna take me? Women do not like creeps. So if she knows that you're a friend of somebody that she knows, well, that checks so many boxes. Well, 1, she knows that you're not a creep. 2, she knows that you could be trusted. And 3, now you guys have something to talk about. So friends are friends. You said not to mention school and work. That sucks because school and work is definitely one of the, the best places. I wouldn't say the bar because there's just too much competition, and it's also it's a shitty place to be in. You just, not only there's a lot of competition, for the pretty girl, but you got drunk guys. The bitch can barely hear you. She can barely hear you. You gotta be there late at night. You might end up drinking. So I won't really say the bar. Even though I'm being a hypocrite because, we did go, me, Marco, I think Mo at the time too, I don't remember. But yeah, back then we did go, to some places at night. But I would say school, work, and friends of friends by far are the top 3. You just told me not to include school and work. So yeah, the only thing you're left with is friends of friends. Because even the gym is not a good place because most women there don't want to be approached unless you're super good looking. Park, not a good place. Library, also not a good place. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. School, work, and friends of friends. If I think deeper, I'll probably remember other places, or I might make a tier list. Next, you said in a recent video that the higher the T, the higher the dopamine, and therefore the shorter the refractory period, even with the same woman. But it's also true that high T and dopamine increase the need for sexual variety. So I found fascinating the contrast in which such a man that after the nut theoretically wants to dump the bitch is the only one who will actually engage in multiple rounds. Can you expand this paradox? My idea is that high dopamine wants you to find a new partner, but in its absence makes you find attractive new and less obvious aspects of the same chick. It's so funny when you guys sound so proper, but then you also use like our slang. But yeah. So anyway, let me go back to this part because you said a whole lot of stuff. You said how to cheat. So long story short, testosterone increases dopamine. Dopamine signaling, that is, right? So there's already parts of your brain that, dopamine is released into, the, nucleus accumbens and stuff like that. Testosterone just makes, that signal stronger. So when and testosterone also increases the, desire for novelty, not just new cheeks, but, just not novelty, more conquest. That's why even businessmen with high T, they want to just keep conquering new markets and stuff like that. So when you're smashing, obviously, you bust a nut, right? Prolactin goes up, dopamine goes down. That's the brain's way of saying, okay, you put your seed in this bitch, go look for another one. Now, if she does something different, like a new position, or she puts, a different outfit on, just something new, then the refractory period is going to be reduced. Why? Because even though it's the same person, she's hacking the parts of your brain that craves novelty, right? So hopefully you understand that aspect. I hope that's what you were asking. I'm being lazy right now. I don't want to read the whole thing again, but let's see if you're asking something else. Oh, yeah. So you were saying, why is it that if your T is super high, then you might, think about it. If your T is super high, right, and you finish smashing a chick, obviously your brain wants another one. But if there's nobody else in sight and your T is super high, then guess what? You still have enough T left to want to smash the same one. So I don't understand why that's confusing. You know what I mean? Like, you have high T, you smash. Typically, T goes down, right? Obviously, it goes up while you're smashing, and then after that, you get the prolactin thing, and then obviously the body has to down-regulate T, else you're going to smash forever, right? But if your T is super high, then the drop that you get, that temporary drop that you get, after busting a nut for your body to make you calm down and move on, well, that drop is not going to be enough to make you, lose your sex drive. Right, so you're gonna go again and again and again. That's a man with super high T will smash a girl, finish, go again, until meaning they need multiple nuts to get enough prolactin to reduce their T to the point where they don't even want to smash the same bitch anymore. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, next. I'm super tired, by the way. I literally recorded 2 videos. I'm trying to do this up to 3 videos a day thing. I finished 2, so this is the 3rd one. Can't wait to be done with this. Fisted. Is being good with kids important for triple S SKOOL? If so, how does someone who grew up with no kids around, I was the kid, become good with kids? Okay, so being good with kids is part of the last letter of the triple S SKOOL, right? So the sexiness part, so that's meaning the woman is looking for not just your genes, but also your parenting ability, because women not only want a warrior, but they want a kind warrior. They want somebody who's going to be a father to the kids, obviously. So they want, again, security, status, but then they also want the sexiness part, meaning how good are your genes and how good. Pretty much the sexiness part is your parenting skills. Your genes, so that's the biological part of parenting, but also the psychological part of parenting. So if you're good with kids, yeah, women like that. Women like that. That's why they like men who have dogs and stuff like that, because it shows that you have some form of empathy. In short, women, it's funny because they evolve to want 2 things that are usually opposite, right? So they want a fighter, a warrior, but they also want, a kind, protective, loving person. So that's why they pick men that are usually somewhere in the middle, right? So they want that kind Spartan, is what I like to call it, like a kind Spartan, a warrior who's ready to fuck shit up, right? Capable of extreme violence, but at the same time is also able to control it and show love to kids, dogs, strangers, old ladies crossing the street and shit. Women love that. You want to make a woman melt? Be a badass warrior physique, warrior mentality motherfucker, but at the same time, with a piece of kindness in you. You'd be surprised. It makes them fucking melt because now you're activating both circuits. You're activating the part of them that wants the warrior, but you're also activating the part of them that wants a father for their kid. And as far as how do you become good with kids, I don't know, nigga, like hang around kids, bro. What the fuck? Hang around kids. I don't know. Well, okay, whoa. That sounded weird. Don't hang around kids. I would say, I don't know. Go to your sister. Do you have relatives? If you have relatives that have kids, I don't know. Like go play with the kids for like 30 minutes. If they're going to the park, take them to the park. I think that's the least of your concern right now. Men should just focus on the first two letters of the XXX score, right? Don't worry about the, like becoming good with kids. Like, you don't have to be like a fucking babysitter. You don't have to be fucking Mr. Rogers. Just don't be a serial killer, right? Don't smack kids around. You'll be fine. Next, warning, weird question about a very weird guy. What do you think drove Jeffrey? It's funny, I just said serial killer, and then the next one is this guy mentions Jeffrey Dahmer. What do you think drove Jeffrey Dahmer to do what he did? And do you think that it was driven by his homosexual desires? What do you think about necrophilia? And what do you think we can learn from this case? It's biology 101. Biology 101, right? Obviously, he has some screws loose, but again, when I say biology, I mean parts of his brain. Parts of his brain where, guys, you understand, the brain is just like a computer. It's like a machine, right? Things can go wrong, right? Just like people that have amygdala tumors and end up murdering people left and right, and prior to that, they were just fine. Or people that get their frontal cortex damaged and start cursing at people and not being able to control their impulses. So you could have people that have mutations in their brain, tumors in their brain. Obviously there's childhood environment as well. So yeah, it's not shocking at all. Wires get crossed, man. And if you activate the wrong side of your brain at the wrong time, you'd be surprised what humans are capable of doing. Next, let's see. Khalid Ibrahim. Let's see, that's a GOAT name, by the way, Khalid. You got the first name of one of my favorite warriors in history. Age 16, 5'11", 179 pounds, 15% body fat, ethnicity Sudan. All right, I don't have a problem with women. I'm also decent looking, as I've had multiple women say I look attractive. What the fuck? All right, I don't have a problem with women. I'm also decent looking, as I've had multiple women say I look attractive. The problem is I can't clap the cheeks because of my parents. I can barely go out and have my location 24/7. God damn. I can't figure out a way to go out there and get some action. I graduated high school early and started college about a month ago. How can I work around this? If I can't, what's the next best thing for me to do? If they track your location 24/7, that is OD. That is OD. You need to make money and get the fuck out of the house. I'm not gonna lie. 24/7? That's crazy. Again, if you were young, I get it, but you are 16. Damn. I would say try to clap at school, right? Try to clap at school. Obviously, use protection. Try to clap. I don't know, guys. I clapped in the weirdest places: at school, in a fucking parking lot, at Kroger. Obviously bathroom. Just find ways to clap, man. Don't overthink this. In a car, rent a car. It's not that hard, man. Or tell your parents 24/7. I'm also trying to think. Yeah. Because if you clapping and that's in the parking lot, they're just gonna see that you're in the parking lot at school, right? They don't know your dick is out. All right, next, the ratio. But also hurry up and make some money so you could get out of your house, right? Because I know African parents are very controlling. So make some money and get out the house. I left my mom's house when I was 17. Best decision I ever made. Saved up money and got the fuck out of there. So save up your money. I'm not saying you should don't hate your parents, right? Because a lot of them just, want the best for you. But some of them are also very controlling. Not all parents want the best for you. Some do. Some just want to control you because, you're pretty much their retirement plan, Not saying that's who your parents are, because I don't know you. I don't know them. But depending on who your parents are, if they're the bad kind, who just control you and make it seem like they want what's best for you when really they want what's best for them, then make money and get the fuck out. Next, the ratio again. How can I be myself around attractive women? Even when I force it, I get so nervous that paradoxically I stop being myself, even if I try to think of them as dudes. Yeah, it's the answer I gave you earlier, right? You put in the cart before the horse. There are many things you need to fix first before you even try to, be around women and get women. It seems like your XXX score is very low, brother. And I'm saying this with love. So work on yourself first, man. I know you guys hate hearing those basic answers, but that's why they're the basics, because they are so damn powerful. Trust me, I wish there was a shortcut. I wish there was a shortcut other than XXX score, 10 testosterone commandments, knowing your Ikigai. There isn't. Those are the shortcuts. Next, would you say women that look more or less like you and are part of the same genetic pool find you more attractive than what is different? Yeah, some studies show that on average, women do want men that are similar to them, but it's mainly because of cultural reasons and familiarity and stuff like that. And the difference is not like huge, right? Because there are some women who do want, like, men who look completely different than them, right? There's some white girls who like niggas. There's some Asian girls who like, Africans, even though they're so fucking rare. I can't wait to meet one because I told you guys, I smashed so many women in my lifestyle except Asians. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait till I get one. Never had an Asian and never had a Middle Eastern woman. And they're two of the baddest women out there. So attractive to me, at least. But maybe they're so attractive to me because I never had them. It's kind of like the whole muscle thing, right? We want muscles we never had. I'm obsessed with traps because I never had big traps. So maybe that's why I find them so attractive. But yeah, see, I went off on an ADHD tangent again. So yeah, next, are men and women genetically wired to find a specific set of characteristics more attractive than others, or is it all just environmental and just certain archetypes we're more into? Yeah, so most women have a basic evolutionary, preference based on evolution, like the fighter physique and triple S score, whatever. But then you also got to add environment and individual differences. That's why you will find some women who like feminine soy boys, and there are some men who like Smeagol bitches. So that's why I say there's always outliers. There's always exceptions to the rule. But yeah, on average, most women have that core biological drive, regardless of culture, to want a masculine, fighter. Next, the masked writer. That's his name. Age 27, 5'6", 160 pounds, 27% body fat. You gotta lose fat, buddy. I live in a third world country, which is mostly conservative, South Asian. Due to this and how we were raised, I found out that I'm not shy. Just that girls in my country are mostly shyer than a man who would. So cold approaches seem borderline unrealistic and weird, unlike in Western countries. I'm against cold approaching anyway, so unless you're super good looking. Next, I'm guessing you were born and raised in Africa, so the conservative background and upbringing is similar to that. Yep, where I live, so you could also relate. Indians could relate to this issue. I'm almost done with college, so my opportunities will be reduced once I start working. If you were 27 years old and in a country like this, how would you approach girls? So, as I always fucking say, everything starts with triple S score first. That's why I say don't put the car before the horse. So first, assuming you have a high triple S score, which I don't think you do, because you're telling me you 5'6" with 27% body fat at 160. I don't know, man, but so first, increase your triple S score. I'm always going to start every answer with that. Now, once you have a high triple S score, now go to areas where your chances of success are higher. Even in India, Africa, wherever you name it, there's always going to be areas where you have a higher chance of scoring an easy cheek. Right, guys, location matters. Clapping cheeks are just like real estate. Location matters. Right? For example, if I'm trying to clap, let's say I have 24 hours to smash a chick or I die, right? What do you think is the first place I'm going to go looking? A church? A mosque? Fuck no, right? I'm going to go to the place where there's the most ratchet bitches, right? Obviously not prostitutes, because that's dirty as hell. But you know what I mean? So even in your country, even with the strict rules, there has to be places, regions, where women are a little more loose. Go there with a high triple S score, and then boom, now your chances increase. I look at everything like numbers. To me, it's all numbers. That's why I told you I use volume. I'm like, okay, if my win rate is 1%, I just need to, talk to 100 women. If it's 10%, then, on and so forth. So I'm all about numbers. So look for regions in your nation, in your state, where you have a higher likeliness of, clapping an Indian chick. Hopefully that helps. But like I said, everything starts with triple S score. Make sure you make enough money first. You have a good physique, and that's gonna open so many doors. Next, and obviously the confidence is gonna come as a byproduct of that. Next, James, 6 foot, 100. Wait, holy fuck! I gotta hurry up. What time is it? Let me see. Oh god damn, this video is long as fuck. I was trying to make it 20 minutes, but I end up ranting. All right, James, 6 foot, 167, 18.66 FFMI. I've had, by the way, 6 foot, 167. Come on, bro. Come on. You gotta put on some mass, buddy. Don't get fat though, because you got a nice frame. I've had multiple girlfriends in the past. Just recently got out of a 7-month relationship, and I'm looking to start dating girls at my school. I'm assuming since I got play with an FFMI this low that my face is sufficiently attractive. I currently attend my local community college. What should I do to increase my social capital? All right, let me see. Yeah, so one, obviously have a friend group, right? Like I always say, have a nice little brotherhood. That's gonna help you not look like a creep, but it's also gonna help you meet friends of friends. Gonna give you places to hang out where you're not alone. You know, like I said, women do not like seeing a guy sitting alone on the bench, unless you're super good looking. That's always the exception. So get a friend group going. Obviously, I'm assuming you know your Ikigai. That's extremely important as well. That's gonna help you with the status part of the triple S score. You know, you saying your physique, you saying your face is good. Okay, great. You're 6 foot tall, so definitely adding some muscle will make you look even better. Because now you got the height and the muscle mass, so you definitely gonna look like a fighter in her eyes. Yeah, you know, and obviously, like I would say, learn a martial art, right? At least 5 out of 10 or higher at a martial art for the confidence and that aura that you can't fake. And yeah, just basic stuff. But your Ikigai, as far as anything that has to do with social status and social capital, that's all linked to your Ikigai, right? The more you dominate your Ikigai, automatically your status goes up. Because then you can solve people's problems that have questions related to your Ikigai. Next, Adam Lebroni, is it common to have some ED when you first start clapping cheeks? It's not common. Well, here's what I should say. It's common, but it's not, don't freak out. It's mainly because you're nervous or anxious. Also, have you already clapped a girl? Also, after you already clapped a girl, do you start getting T-boost benefits when around her? After clapping her multiple times, the benefits tend to go down for many reasons. One, your brain no longer sees it as a status boost. The first time you clap a girl, your brain gets all kinds of signals. You get the status boost increase. You get the increase from just clapping cheeks, of course. And you obviously get the increase from your body thinking that you won, right? You won something. But after you clap her multiple times, literally, the brain gets desensitized, right? Homeostasis. So eventually you have to move on to another one, unless you don't clap that same girl for a long time and then return to her, and then the pattern repeats itself. Next, Matej, height 181 centimeters, 75 kgs, 19.5 FMMIs. Guys, you guys got to get bigger, man. 19.5 FMMI is very low. I feel getting in the friend zone being myself. Wait, what? Getting in the friend zone being myself. I was raised to be a gentleman, and I think that's the reason I can't get no pussy. I keep trying to slowly escalate, like you said, but just get the usual. I see you as a friend. Please help me. Yeah, guys. That's like I said earlier. Women are looking for a fighter. That's the security part. A provider, and then also the whole parenting, quality stuff. If you too nice, too much of a gentleman, you are ruining. You're maximizing the parenting side, right? She sees that you have what it takes to be a nice, patient, loving father, but you minimizing the fuck out of the security part, right? When you're too nice, women get dry, man. They get dry. They see it as like, okay, this guy can't protect me. He's not violent. He's not able, he's not. You gotta understand, women want a man. I know you guys heard this a million times, but it's so true. They want a man who is calm, quiet, funny, whatever, but at any moment can go Super Saiyan and destroy anyone who hurts her or her child, right? It's evolutionary biology 101, because we evolve in a dangerous ass wild, guys. The plains of Africa, come on. And even after that, even after humans left Africa, right, when they went to Asia and Europe and all that stuff, we evolved in a very, very dangerous environment. So women want you to be loving and kind and cute and all that stuff, but they also want you to be able to go Super Saiyan at any moment, right? And they look at that by looking at your behavior, your demeanor, your signs of fighting ability, your broad shoulders, your muscle mass, confidence, all of these cues. So you're getting friend zone because she sees you as weak. She just sees you as like, okay, he's going to be a nice, gentle guy, but she doesn't see that violence in you. She doesn't see that dog in you, So you can't fake that, learn to fight. I'm not saying to go out there and start fights to show her that, oh, look, I'm tough. No. She has to be able to see it through your aura. Anyway, all right, that's it. Done with this one, guys. Join the SKOOL community. It's the best community for boosting testosterone, meeting like-minded men, learning shit about masculinity, studies. It's the best fucking community. Just fucking join. All right, I'm out of here.